All right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA podcast. My name is Keith Parish, and this is season 11, episode 1 of Fast Break Breakfast, a show which began basically 10 years ago, in about a week from now. So I am here. My name is Keith Parish, of course. I am joined through the miracle of computer phone by my good buddy, Dave DuFour, for this season premiere. Dave, how are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Ready for the season to start.
I am also joined by the miracle of computer phone by John Burr. John Burr, this is your and my 11th Eastern Conference over under. How you been, buddy?
Only one way to respond to this, and it's hey now.
Hey now.
Hey now.
John, we started this show a couple of weeks before my son was born. We started the show in your cold garage.
Yes. I just went to my old cold garage to pick up this microphone to do this show.
Are you in your new house? Is this your new house right now that we're seeing on YouTube on the video? Okay.
We rent the old house, but I don't rent the garage because we have too much stuff. So
there you go. Yeah.
Just appear in these poor women's backyard all the time, just grabbing things from time to time.
I always like to think back on the first show and how little game plan we had. My memory of it is we said we're going to do over-unders because this is fun, and that's how we feel like all basketball podcasts are supposed to begin this season. But my memory, John, is we sat down with the microphones,
yes,
and hit record, and we're like, "Hey, who's going to talk first? Who's like we didn't have a host. We didn't know how to start the thing."
It was so long ago,
that
I was by far the most organized member.
You had a lot of notes.
In and of itself,
I thought I was going to riff. I was there to riff.
And then it just slowly, you probably realized after watching my 10th 11 a.m. beer that you might have to steer the ship.
You had a drinking problem back then. Yeah. No, it's really funny.
This is all news to me. I love
Dave, this is news. Yeah. Dave,
here.
Dave, very, very prepared. Dave might be the polar opposite of actually what John Burr was in 2014.
Yeah.
You know, like very under control, very punctual, very prepared.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, but we definitely evolved.
Compliments, yeah.
Yeah. We had a lot of fun. After a while, it's like, I got to bring some more stuff to the table.
Oh yeah, and Dave, I think that Chuck and Keith would send me, very staggeringly early start times.
Yeah, we did.
That I was not coming for 75
I'll say
minutes.
this from my experience working with people who aren't just doing this as a fun thing, like. Punctuality is a huge issue, just for people.
Yeah.
Especially like Americans in particular. Just the time is hard, right? It's nebulous.
So,
and also, but you guys were on the same time zone, but on different schedules, right?
Well, we were also and also this is different about the punctuality thing. The first, up until COVID, we did almost every show in person.
Right.
So we're talking about a lack of punctuality for being at John's house. Right. John wouldn't be there. We recorded at John's house at this time. We told John an earlier time and we were still there. And I had a newborn and I'm like, hey, I'm going to John's house for 90 minutes.
The lack of empathy I showed was truly staggering.
Yeah, it was great.
I was very annoyed by the birth of Keith's child.
Yeah.
Anytime Chuck had to pick up his child, super irritated. Now that I have a child, I should feel guilt about these things, but only hilarity ensues.
Yeah, it's all tragedy plus time equals comedy.
I'll start using my dog as an excuse here.
Anyways, this episode, we're going to talk about the Eastern Conference. That's how we always basically kick it off. We're going to do our Vegas over under win total projections. But of course, we begin every show talking about our breakfast. John, I've missed you. Have you had any good breakfasts recently?
Special occasion because we did this show, did the McGaw's thing.
McGaw's.
And they had not seen me in so long that there was an emotional response when I pulled up.
Wow.
So for listeners who might be newer, McGaw's is a donut shop near your house. That you were a regular. You don't go there very much anymore, so they were excited to see you.
No, yeah, I got into the whole health food counting calories thing.
Yeah,
maybe like 2 years ago, so I don't eat donuts anymore.
Yeah, the podcasting was causing you to have bad habits. It was
it was giving me gout and diabetes.
Nice. The McGaw's donuts for John. Dave, what breakfast have you had?
You know what, man? I'm still on the oatmeal. It's
pumpkin?
Fall. Yeah,
Goop.
Pumpkin.
Goop.
Throw a huge. My girlfriend said, "Wow, that's a lot of pumpkin." When I was making my oatmeal yesterday, I was like, "No, I think this is like it's equal parts pumpkin and oatmeal. That can't be too much pumpkin."
That feels like a lot of pumpkin.
That's
Very
a ton of pumpkin, Dave. It's not
really
even
good.
oatmeal anymore.
It's amazing.
That's pumpkin with oatmeal topping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
that was breakfast, and then the old reliable cold brew.
There you go. My
Dude,
breakfast.
cold brew, what a drug. What an elite as a purveyor of different substances. Cold brew is a top 10. Get you going.
And I can make it in my kitchen, and it costs like a quarter to make.
Oh, you make it?
8 cups.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So easy.
You're basically the Heisenberg of cold brew now.
Pretty much.
My breakfast, very much not exciting for this season premiere. I mean, yesterday I had a donut. That's fine. Glazed donut from the pricey place. Today I had my children's leftover dinner, which is becoming my normal Monday morning breakfast, is just I eat their leftovers. So buttered noodles. Had buttered noodles.
So your kids are old and they still eat like prison
children?
I ate them. I ate the noodles cold. The children are not that adventurous eaters. They're not awful, but
is
their
it just
favorite
buttered noodles?
Their favorite food is buttered noodles. That's their favorite food.
No peas in there. No broccoli. No vegetables.
No, kids these days, they play games on iPads and let their brains melt, and they refuse to eat peas. Except
this explains the rise in cancer rates. We got to eat some vegetables.
Unrelated to cancer, John, you've probably encountered this with your daughter. The thing that they keep telling me as a parent, that it's like, hey, is your kid reading? That's great. Anything the kid reads is great. There's no such thing as reading like, oh, as long as they're reading, that's great for their brains. Just read anything. I don't know if I agree with this. My kids read the stupidest things ever.
What are they reading?
Diary of a Wimpy Kid. These books are dumb.
Never read it.
And I'm like, I don't.
Hillbilly Elegy.
They both read Hillbilly Elegy. No, but they're like the librarians and the doctors are just like, yeah, reading is great for your brain. And my kids read a ton. And other parents, frankly, they express their jealousy of how much my kids read. But I'm like, hey, could you try reading like a actual book that isn't a graphic novel? And my son, who's 9, can't do it. And I'm like, I'm not sure this reading anything program turned out great. But by the way, that actually leads us into our breakfast in bed apologies. So after our breakfast in bed apologies. This is my chance to make right anything I might have gotten wrong on a previous episode. It's frequently the first time we talk about the NBA, which the show's about. But this apology, very simple, very short. Last episode, Dave, you said, how old are your kids? And I gave you the wrong ages. I confidently said 10 and 7. And they're 9 and 7.
31 and 19.
Yeah, you were like, I was like 10 and 7. And then I just kept rolling and I'm like, well, I'm not going back. But I am sorry. My son does not turn 11 for another month. So that's my bad. Apologies there. But I wish he would read. He read the Harry Potter books, but also I asked him questions about them and he doesn't know the answers. So I'm not sure about his reading comprehension. We were watching
Have you tried LeVar Burton yet?
We made them watch some Reading Rainbows. They loved it.
Yeah, Reading Rainbow was.
They're showing you how a bowling alley works, like the behind the scenes of a bowling alley with the ball return. Oh, that was amazing for them. Anyways, let's get into the show. We have a lot to cover. Also, we need to let our Patreon supporters know if you want to play fantasy basketball, you got to sign up. The drafts for the regular head-to-head leagues, our category leagues, those drafts, one's tomorrow night, Tuesday the 15th, and the other is Wednesday night, Wednesday the 16th. So if you want to play in a head-to-head fantasy basketball league with me and other listeners, let's say, I don't know, 9 a.m. Wednesday morning is your deadline. Go to patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast and sign up. And the draft for the negative fantasy league, I believe we have 32 people signed up for the negative fantasy league. My goal is 40. So we're only 8 away. Oh, and Dave, you haven't even signed up yet. So we'll count you. We'll count you. That's 7. We're only 7 away from our goal of 40. So if you're a Patreon supporter, just go sign up. It's a snake draft. No one knows what they're doing, so you can't mess it up. Well, like
he
4 of us
sent me
know.
an invitation, and I looked at it like it was a text telling me that someone I had just eaten with tested positive for COVID.
I was like, John, are you playing this year? And he's like, oh, no, I don't know if I can. But he couldn't turn it down. He joined. Johnson.
My brother got me in a fantasy football league with like some of our cousins.
Yeah.
Like family league, right? I forgot to set my lineup for week 1.
That's terrible.
He even texted me to remind me. I'm not watching football.
Your invitation might be rescinded.
I really thought
I'm not having any deadbeat owners in this league.
Right. Well, it's impossible, right? Like I have to watch there's going to be a chain to my leg.
The hard part is it's built in. It's baked in.
Yeah.
So with football though, I started out, I had this idea, I watched WNBA all summer. I had gotten used to watching sports on like a Sunday early afternoon. It became a thing. I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to be able to slide right into football. No, because the WNBA playoffs has been too good on Sundays. And then I'm, just out doing other stuff. So I just have not thought about
this
football.
one. I didn't know that you got pretty much all the NBA podcasts have lots of WNBA segments or features now, because I kept starting podcasts to try to learn who was gone, who was that, and they would start saying names I really had never heard before. Yeah. And then I was panicking, and I was like,
Nafisa,
these are ladies.
Nah, they just didn't listen, man. People just don't know what to do with themselves, right? Like the preseason stuff is so hard. I would say this, one of the things I don't know, man. There's too many people out there covering the WNBA for me to do anything but just watch. You know? I mean, I'm happy to just watch.
I am still not able to speak intelligently about it, so I refrain.
Yeah,
I've watched.
Well, I'm a huge Minnesota Lynx.
I've watched so little of it. I've watched this year's playoffs. I've been catching some of it, but still on Sundays, I'm watching Will Levis do insane things for my Tennessee Titans. This guy can't even throw.
Of teams.
This guy can't even throw for 100 yards, but he's sending ball boys to the hospital by diving into him. This is the greatest train wreck imaginable.
Guy?
Yeah, yes. This is the mayonnaise guy. I don't know what's the NBA equivalent?
Lance Stevenson.
No, that's great. Thank you. No, the NBA equivalent of me as a football fan watching Derrick Henry and AJ Brown, former Tennessee Titans, still playing at peak powers, just dominating for other teams. Meanwhile, the Titans are horrible.
And
they're just like,
anytime somebody leaves the Wizards.
Well, it's just like, why would I not want this good player? The entire point of sports is when you have a good player is to keep them. And it's like, no.
Can I do a football stat that may or may not be true?
Okay.
I think the 3 top recorded speeds this year in the NFL, 2 of them are Derrick Henry.
That's amazing. I love it.
And we just let him go.
Yeah. They're like, we want to bring in Tony Pollard and we're going to build around Will Levis. Anyways, if you want to play fantasy sports with me and John and maybe Dave, patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Also, if you join up over at Patreon, you get access to the Slack channel and you get a bonus episode a month. And with that, let's actually take a quick break and then we will come back and do our Eastern Conference over unders. All right. It is our turn. Everyone else has done them. The ubiquitous over unders. And honestly, this isn't even a gambling segment. This is just a fun predict against what Vegas has projected for these teams. The way we do this, or the way I used to do this was I did not know what the over-unders were for any team. And in years past, I would be like, this is my win prediction for this team. And then John, our gambling expert, John, who is mortified that gambling has come out into the sunlight. He liked it when it was in the shadows. He's like, it's no longer fun. It's too sanitized. Needs to be
desultory. Correct.
Now all the lines are horrible. The VIG is too high. It's destroying families.
You can bet from an Uber touchscreen, a touchscreen not even on your phone, but your cab driver's phone.
Is this because we've gotten too lazy as a society, John?
I don't. Yeah,
it's like celebrity endorsements, right? Think about this. Every commercial now has a celebrity in it. Everything is a celebrity endorsement, right? It's the laziest. It's literally the laziest, most boring way to market.
I believe, I don't know if I dreamed this. Is Garth Brooks doing gambling commercials? I think I saw Garth Brooks doing
his music's not on Apple. I can't imagine he's doing gambling.
Yeah, he's too wealthy.
Yeah.
Now I'm Googling it to see if
he's too wealthy and seems to at least have
maybe it was Chris Gaines. Maybe you saw Chris Gaines.
I think this is Google. Google is telling me, it was Chris Gaines. Chris Gaines along with Eli Manning and Peyton Manning.
Wow.
No, I didn't.
Garth doesn't even have a bar on Lower Broad. He can't give a damn about. He does?
There's a Garth
it just
bar.
opened. That's true.
Friends in Low Places bar.
I forgot.
Yeah, Friends in Low Places bar. I actually went there for one of my wife had a work event there or some kind of conference thing there, and I didn't. It wasn't specifically themed. I thought each floor might be a famous Garth Brooks song, but it really just felt like a Jimmy Buffett themed bar. But it was named. It was like beach themed, but it was named Friends in Low Places. Anyways,
no rodeo
to say, in years,
did it have a chair?
The Bulls and the Blood. There's nothing.
Yeah.
No. In years past, I would say my prediction for their win total, John would give me the actual gambling line, and frequently they would be very similar because I have a simple brain, it turns out. But this year, I basically couldn't avoid them. So I'm going to say what I did try to do. I did come up with my win totals, and then I'd seen some of them. I knew a few of the over-unders, but still some surprised me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say what my win prediction was, and then what the Vegas line is, and then you guys can go over or under. We will go in alphabetical order. We'll start with the Atlanta Hawks. Dave, when you and I did our Butter or Parquet previews, I think we both felt a little surprised. I know I did. I was like, I think this team's kind of bad, but wait a minute. I think they're clearly going to make the play-in, so maybe they're not that bad. Mm-hmm. I thought the Hawks would win 34 games. That turns out to be an under. Vegas isn't that low on them. This team won 36 games last year. Their over-under is 36.5. John, I haven't checked this out, but I'm pretty sure you've gotten the Hawks over-under correct every single season we've done this.
I'm a bit of a Hawks whisperer.
You used to be a big Hawks fan. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the Hawks?
Fan.
Yeah.
However, there is a devastating X factor for me this time.
Yep.
Because one of the only tenets I've decided to follow to simplify this thing for myself is that if you have picked up some of the discarded Grizzlies flotsam and jetsam, the refuse that is David Roddy, you're getting an automatic under. So funny. It doesn't matter what it is. I could say something about DeJounte Murray here. I could say something about Trey's stink beginning to turn more into a...
Please don't say anything about DeJounte Murray because he's not on the Hawks anymore.
Correct. Well, that's what I meant. Like,
okay.
Gone,
losing DeJounte Murray.
Yeah. But like... It's David Roddy. That's why you're going. That's why I'm going under.
That's hilarious. All right, that's totally fair. I thought
certainly a spoiler for some other teams coming.
I mean, here's where one facet of not actually looking at the lines. I was thinking my 34 wins was going to be an over. My guess was the Vegas line was going to be lower. I'm surprised. I'm 2.5 wins under this Vegas line. Dave, what do you think about it? Do you think they're going to win 37 games or more?
Yeah, I think 37, 38.
Okay.
Jalen Johnson.
How many did they win last year? 34.
They won 36, I think.
Yeah.
Jalen Johnson's great.
He looks good. Risa Shea looks good.
Hey,
he looks pretty like
Risa Shea. I feel like his rookie of the year odds should be skyrocketing. Also combined with Edey's first 2 preseason games that weren't that good. He looked good against the Bulls. Edey did, but Risa Shea might be a dark horse. Number 1 overall pick, could actually be good rookie of the year.
That one game had me thinking, wow, is he going to be starting for them by the middle of the year? I
Peak
just I think
podcaster brain has made
yeah,
an
I know.
This is
I know,
insane.
but I would say this. I think Atlanta, like, look, the pecking order is a little bit more clear. We even said when we were talking about in the butter parquet, we
Yep.
felt like there was just okay, they're about the same,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
yeah. So and with a little bit more clarity, maybe Trey, Trey is really good,
Trey's
and one
great.
of the things that kind of gets lost is how much better they are when he's running the offense, and he's
Mm,
going to run
yeah.
the offense almost every possession now. So. I just also think
So
that like
so
the
you're on
Bulls are going to be
record. DeJounte
worse.
Murray addition by subtraction.
I
That's
I
mean,
like
kind of
it.
what we're thinking.
a little bit here, and
I
so
will.
you got those defenders around him. I like him. 37 wins.
So
I love the storyline, but David Roddy's presence necessitates
how
that
long
I'm
will
not.
Well,
David Roddy
okay,
even be
he is
there?
a former Grizzly. There's no guarantee he's on this
John,
roster.
That's a great point. But
John, I have really bad news for you with your former Grizzlies theory, and I'm worried
right,
this is going to ruin this entire maybe bit you've prepared for the whole show.
I only have one other spot, so I think we'll be okay.
Let's see. People who left the Grizzlies. Kyle Anderson basically won the most games of any
Well,
player
that's
the
in
last two
Western, so
seasons.
I'm prepared for this. You act
Outside
like
of
I
the
didn't
Celtics.
prepare.
So Dylan Brooks, the Rockets doubled their win
Western
total
Conference.
last
That's
year.
next week.
Xavier Tillman left, went and won a title on the Celtics. Everyone leave. Oh, the
There's a big
Wizards
difference
were horrible.
between
Tyus Jones,
Dylan
maybe
Brooks
that's one. Okay.
and David Roddy, and most
Here
importantly,
is-
someone we'll get to with the Brooklyn Nets.
Here's actually a little bit more overview that I should have laid out too. One of my issues when I came up with all my win totals was, especially in the Western Conference, there's so many teams I think are going to be pretty good. Like 11 teams I think are pretty good. In the East, I think there's like a clear top 8. I think everyone in the East, Celtics, Knicks, 76ers, Cavaliers, Bucks, Pacers, Magic, Heat, consensus is all those teams are better than whoever's next. If that's the Hawks or the Raptors or whoever, most people think it's the Hawks are the 9th best. So when I was adding up all my wins and I had to hit that magical 1,230 wins, which is the zero-sum game we're playing, I had to start kind of docking wins. I didn't really dock wins from the Hawks. Again, I started off, I felt pretty good about 34, but I feel like there's going to be a absence of victories. This is going to be my pattern, at least throughout this exercise, an absence of victories for one of the not top 17 to 18 teams, which I think the Hawks are on the cusp of that. Also, the Hawks, they do not own their draft pick. And this has led me astray basically every season.
I want to talk about this because isn't this a big tankathon year?
It's a big tankathon year.
Yes.
So if the Hawks start poorly as they want to do, could they just blow?
But they
the
can't.
wheels
So
off?
the Hawks can't because the Hawks,
good point.
Again,
Yeah.
they owe their unprotected.
So they're going to get some free wins from the
So you would think.
tankers.
I actually went through this. There are, let's see, 1, 2, 3. There are 5 teams in the East that have uncontrolled ownership of their pick, which is only 5. The Raptors have their pick. The Magic have their pick. The Pacers have their pick. The Nets have their pick, tank out, and the Celtics have their pick. Everybody else, there is some attachment to it or someone has a claim on it. Now, many of them are like top 10 or lottery protected, but like the Hawks do not have a first round pick. The Cavaliers and the Knicks also don't, but we don't think that's going to matter because we think those are going to be playoff teams. But I thought that was interesting. Like the Wizards, only top 10 protected. The tanking Pistons, perhaps only top 13 protected. The Bulls, top 10 protected. The Hornets, top 14 protected. So maybe that will matter. But anyways, Atlanta Hawks, we're going 2/3 under. Also, I should have given everybody our records from last season and from previous seasons.
We were missing a 15-minute spiel.
Yeah. We like to give people the bona fides. I like to give people our history.
Did Dave do this last year? Or
picks.
did I do it last year? I can't remember.
No. You did it, John.
Okay.
You and I did not do a very good job last year. You beat me, of course. You finished 17-13 on your over-under predictions. Not bad. I was 16-14. I am always horrible at the Eastern Conference. So maybe I should have led the episode with that. Year after year, horrible at the Eastern Conference. Basically 500 on my picks. I'm well over 60% on Western Conference. Is that because I mainly watch the Western Conference? Yes, probably so. I feel like I know much more about the Western Conference. But our overall numbers after 10 years of doing this, we have done a pretty good job. Our all-time records, John, you're 171, 120, and 3 on over-unders. That's a 58.8% win percentage. Pretty good.
So close to making money.
So close to making money. And with these new DraftKings VIGs, you're never going to make money.
No, never. You need to be at 60.
You got to win like 60. Yeah. I am 6 games behind you. 165, 126, and 3. That's 57% win percentage. But the magic is where we put our heads together. Where when we do 2/3 agreement, when we did it back with Chuck for the first 9 years, last year we did it with our Patreon supporters. By the way, our Patreon supporters, the consensus last year, they beat us. Unfortunately, there was a 50-50 split on a few of them, but listeners last year were 17 and 10 with 3 ties that were thrown out. Wow. So if you do the 2/3 rule, which was whatever 2/3 of us say based on either hosts or the listeners last year, in the 10 years we've done it, we have a 63% win percentage on the 2/3 rule. 186, 113, and 3. That is making money. The unanimous rule, if we're in unanimous agreement, last year we were 6 and 3, and that brought our winning percentage down. Unanimous, we're 84, 40, and 2. That is a lifetime win percentage of 67.7%. So if we're firmly in agreement, and if you actually do want to wager some money for fun, money that you don't need for anything else, by all means.
Well, I've always prescribed to if you really want to have a good time gambling, it's an old adage. Look at your balance, note the number.
Yep.
Place a wager for twice that number, and then feel alive.
Yeah, that was your always. I believe your first advice to our listeners was look at your rent check or your mortgage check, whatever that number is, times 2. And let's go play. No, let's move to the Boston Celtics. This is the consensus championship favorite. I think everyone thinks they're going to be the best team in the East. I only gave them a paltry 56 wins, which makes it an under just because the number is very, very high. I mean, they won so many games last year, but their over under is 58.5. Dave, are they going to be a regular season juggernaut and do 60 wins again? What do you think?
I think I'm going to go under, and it's because they won 64 games last year, and everything kind of broke right for them in the regular season. They're going to start out this year with no Porzingis. Horford's old. Luke Cornett looks good in the whole Missoula ball situation, but, what does that look like over 82 games? I just think this isn't the year where you've got to put your pedal to the metal. This is probably the year where they need to just kind of grind it out, chew through, get these guys as much rest as possible because they're likely coming out of the East. Yeah. So they need to be ready for the playoffs. So I think they're going to be slow to bring Porzingis back. And I think that's going to cut into the win total. So I've got them at like 57, 58 wins.
That's where I'm at. What are you?
The old podcaster. This is the best team, but no team is going to win 60 games. Over under fallacy. A team wins 60 games every year.
Oh, I have a team winning 60 games, but not in the East.
Why not pick the best team? I'll go over.
Yeah.
It's a large number, but boy, they're good. And boy, are they built for the regular season.
That's the one thing where it's like, even when they don't play their guys because they don't have to go hard to win the conference, like
doesn't matter.
Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, and former Grizzly Xavier Tillman, they're going to dominate the backups for the other team. So
that's the worst thing they have to worry about is the Orlando Magic.
Yeah. I feel like I would love to check the all-time records. I never go over the big numbers usually.
Ever.
So, and it hurts me sometimes, but yeah, I'm taking the under. Let's go to the Nets. The Nets, the opposite end of the spectrum. I
can't wait to hear this number. It's going to be like 15.
I predicted 19 wins just because I just like, that's pretty low.
Too many.
And it's too many. Their actual over under hysterically is 19.5. So
I'm going over.
I guess I'm sticking with my under. All right, Dave, you're going over.
I think they're too good right now.
I don't.
They got to get worse.
Why not? I mean, I'm sorry. Cam Johnson's their best player, right?
By a measure.
Is Dennis Schroeder their best player?
Maybe.
Shake Milton.
I mean, I know there's like the
all right, but look at who the Wizards are rolling out there every night. You know, I just they're not at the bottom of their tank. Now, I think that they can engineer themselves to win like 16 games, but they're not there yet.
I think wow. I mean,
they don't want to win, right?
I was going to say Cam Thomas.
They don't want to win.
Defenders feel like Cam Thomas is going to have a chance to shine. Ben Simmons is actually playing basketball. Clax is okay.
It's so hard to only win 19 games.
It's so hard, and yet so many teams did it last year.
Two teams didn't win.
It's the Randall Flagg sweepstakes. It's the villain from The Stand.
There you go.
Got to pick him up.
All right, so I'm going under. John, your yin to your yang of your
under.
Zaire under. I love it. All right, let's go to the next team. No reason to dilly-dally.
The Pistons losing 29 in a row and still somehow winning 14 games just gives me so much hope.
I was so confident about the Pistons over last year. Let's do the Hornets. The Hornets they're a mysterious team, and I don't know what to make of them. I think they're actually going to be hideously bad, I guess, but maybe not. I feel like there's a world out there where like Tijan Salon looked okay in preseason, and if LaMelo Ball's back, although Mark Williams still, maybe there was a setback again. Brandon Miller's really good. But I put the Hornets at 27 wins. It turns out that's an under. Their over-under is 30.5 wins. John, what do you think about the Hornets?
I was a year late on the Hornets. I picked them to win their division last year.
Yeah.
It's going to be this year.
There you go.
I'll go over.
All right. Dave, what do you think about the Hornets?
Dave's got to pick his eyebrows out of the ceiling fan.
I do, yeah. They're going to win the division.
Listen, 2 years ago, back when Gordon Hayward was alive, they were a good team when LaMelo Ball was healthy.
I think LaMelo Ball's awesome.
That's the trick, right? Like, it's how much do you believe LaMelo's going to be out there? Because I think they've got a few guys. Like, I mean, Brandon Miller was really good, especially the last half of last year. We all like Trey Mann. You know, he's one of these guys.
Trey Mann destroyed the Grizzlies last week in a preseason game.
Their biggest issue is going to be defense. I love that they've got Charles Lee as a coach. So now, like, this is like they're trying to move forward. Right? They're not. This is not a placeholder. Now, hold on a second. I'm not going to list Josh Green as one of the reasons why they might go over.
That's what I say to any Mavs fan that I meet in the wild.
It's such a big jump. It's such a big jump. 21 to 31 games essentially is like a 10-game jump. Is LaMelo healthy for the full season? If he is, sign me up.
They had none of those. They had none of their stars last year.
Yep. Like, he needs to be healthy, right?
For sure.
Career-wise.
Sure. But to me, he's like Ja Morant, like where it's that big of a deal. Like,
sure,
if they have him, they're like a contender.
I mean, that game,
their division.
Not to keep quoting preseason stuff, but that game he had the other night was like 26, 6, and 4. I mean, he was incredible. And you just see like how much having two guys who can do stuff matters.
They also get to play. They get to play in the weakest division in the weakest conference.
True.
These Southeast Division teams, man, Magic, Heat, Hawks, Hornets, Wizards. Schedule's not very hard.
You're telling me the Hornets can't win that division?
That's the thing. Is Orlando can't score at all. And I think Charlotte is going to have some nights where they just light people up.
Although Orlando made us look hideously stupid on our preseason over-under predictions last season. All right, so Dave and I are going. Wait, Dave, did you play your flag?
Over.
Oh, okay.
Over.
You're going over. So I'm the only under on that team. Last year, we were unanimously over on our next team, the Chicago Bulls, and we were correct. Good job, everybody. This year for the Bulls, I am not optimistic, but a wrench has been thrown in our Bulls analysis and prediction. Lonzo Ball is supposedly playing the next game. He is playing in preseason. They're trying to get him to play 2 preseason games.
I did not know this.
Yeah. Do we, first of all, do we believe in this?
Yes.
No,
I want to
not
believe.
that he's going to play. Yeah, I know
that
you're
he's gonna be
Fox
healthy.
Mulder, but like, is Lonzo Ball actually going to play a season? That's more the question.
So Dave knows, coach me up.
Okay.
I feel like there are different kinds of players
Yes.
in that some of them can play at a pretty high level after being injured, and some of them, like for instance, I'll use Tyrese Halliburton.
Right.
He was awesome. As soon as he was injured in any way, sucked. Couldn't play through it. Terrible. And I think a lot of it is just because he relies on he jumps when he passes.
Right.
He's just like a freaky athlete guy. It's not necessarily a mental thing. I'm not saying he's not.
Yeah. Well, hamstring's tough.
Yeah, but even with his back stuff or anything, everything seemed to
What
just
about
totally
catastrophic
change
leg
who he was.
injury
Well, that's the thing.
for
is
Lonzo?
that, hamstrings connected directly to the back. So like with
Right.
Halliburton, it sapped his athleticism. With Lonzo, this seemed like if they're letting him play, there must not be a structural issue. It's going to be about pain mitigation, pain management. From what I understand, he's basically running around with no cartilage in a knee.
Right.
So he's going to have a huge amount of inflammation. So it's all going to be what can he handle game to game, day to day. I would guess this. If they're letting him play in this preseason game, there's likely no risk of injury. It's more about how much can he push himself. Like there may be a thing where it's just he has so much discomfort after playing that he cannot play. I don't know.
Or Herr Krause is just rolling out him to display him and then sell him to the highest bidder. The meat market must continue.
You would think
this is the thing about
that's
Lonzo,
what the fans want.
Right. I think with Lonzo, though, if he can play, if he can only give you 12 minutes a night, I think that's a pretty good guy to have.
Well, and back to my point is I don't feel like Lonzo necessarily needs his peak athleticism to function. I feel like the way he played, a lot of it was just like, wow, that guy really knows where he's supposed to be, and that type of player. So I do think that like maybe this could work out even if he's not, because I never thought of like, oh, Lonzo Ball, the greatest.
It's
athlete,
the defense. It's the defense where it really will show up. I think like if we think about Lonzo Ball more like Alex Caruso.
I was about to say they're going to need him because Caruso ain't walking through that tunnel.
Well, right. I don't think the Bulls need him, but if he's healthy, there's definitely a team, a scenario in which he could help a team. But he's more of a Caruso type of a connector guard than he is a point guard. So him having the ball in his hands is not necessary to make him good. If he can shoot, which he was shooting really well when he got hurt. The defense you worry about, because that was actually one of his big calling cards. Him and Caruso were just so chaotic as defenders, and then it translated into on the other end a way that they were able to connect. So I mean, he's like a nice fourth, fifth guy if he's healthy. It's just I don't know, man. I just worry about these guys when they miss time like this. You think about Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons had 2 dunks in a game on November 3rd, 2023. 2 dunks in a game. I mean, he looked good physically. And then
I think he can dunk standing on the floor though.
But these were just he was moving, and then then all of a sudden now
he has like
watch
the arms
him move
from the end of Alien Romulus. Like it's not.
But now when you watch
okay.
him move, like less than a year later, it looks like he's 10 years older. So let's see what Lonzo looks like. I mean, he might just not move well enough, and this is a whole moot conversation point. But man,
I'm not going to say
to
anything more on Lonzo until I see his platelets. Yeah. I need to see his platelets.
Are you guys just filibustering on Lonzo Ball? Did y'all are you just saying over? Okay,
no, I'm saying under.
Oh, wow, that was like, good Lord.
Look, they don't have any of their good players anymore, and they have more bad players than Zach LaVine type players.
I think Zach LaVine is going to have a reclamation season. I think he's going to have a big bounce back. I think he's really good. I'm still stunned. You guys spent maybe 4 to 6 minutes on Lonzo Ball just to take the under. And
if you add in LaMelo Ball, the previous segment, there's
so we're a unanimous. That's our first unanimous. We're a unanimous under. The problem is Arturas Karnisovas still says they're playing bound. He wants to win. They're not going to sell off pieces. They're not even going to trade Zach LaVine when someone offers like a first round pick for him. They're not going to trade Lonzo Ball when like the Thunder or somebody's like, yeah, all right, fine. We'll give you 5 second rounders for him.
I look forward to no one guarding Josh Giddey in the play-in tournament.
All right. So that is our first unanimous under.
Hold on to these front office guys way too long.
All right.
So I am like shocked by this guy still having a job.
All right. Our next team is the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Is there a Ball brother to talk about in Cleveland?
I have taken Turns out I've taken all unders so far. This is my first over. I picked the Cavaliers to have the fourth best record with 49 wins. That feels modest. And that actually is an over, though, because the line I see is 48.5. I think I'm down on every other team we've mentioned, not the Celtics, but the other teams we mentioned. I think they're actually going to be pretty bad. And I think the Cavaliers are actually pretty good. So I feel good. Even though I'm like riding the line with only a half win over, I feel happy to be on that side of it. Dave, are you a believer in the Cavaliers winning more than 48.5 games?
You think about last year, and it wasn't quite Memphis's curse season, but they lost a lot of games. I think you get a coaching upgrade, although I don't know how much of a coaching upgrade it's going to be. We'll see long term. But you theoretically get a development upgrade. Maybe we get more out of Evan Mobley, which I liked everything I saw in the preseason from him so far. Like he's actually attacking the basket, turning and trying to post up on switches. So clearly, like there's been an impetus to get him to try to score a little bit more. Yeah, I like him. I think they probably win 50.
Yep. What about you, John?
The only thing that gives me pause is I feel like this is going to be an insanely heavily bet over.
Yeah,
and I was shocked at the number because this seems like Dave alluded to, seems similar to their win total from last year, even though I'm not looking at it.
Yeah, they had 48 wins last year, John.
But yeah, so I will take the over.
Yeah, so I'm with you where this seems like, I mean, it feels like maybe not obvious, but it seems like the right side to take. Last season, only 3 teams in the East won 49 games or more. So I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how they do, but we are now unanimous over on our Cleveland Cavaliers. The next team, the Detroit Pistons, they burned me so badly. Last year, I'm like, they have so much just NBA competence. How could they possibly win under 21 games or whatever the over-under was? Oh, they cleared it easily. This year, this might be the team I've been the most swayed by in preseason. Should not be swayed by anybody. They're not even, I don't even think they're winning basketball games in the preseason, but there's an energy coming off that court, an energy coming off that screen. I like what I see. I feel like JB Bickerstaff is going to do some good things. Jaden Ivey, there's your most improved player award winner for this season. I had the Pistons at a massive over. I predict them to win 31 games. It turns out their over under is 25.5. So I cleared it by 5 games. So does anybody else agree with me? John, you're laughing. What's your feeling on the Pistons?
I have to wait until Dave goes because last year I based my opinion on Dave DuFour tweets.
Oh, okay.
So I got to wait for Coach DuFour to speak.
On the
I'm
Pistons?
going to take the opposite.
Yeah.
You told me that the Pistons had plenty of excellent NBA quality players, and I smashed that over, and it was a disaster. So I'm just gonna learn.
You're
from
gonna
my
blame
mistakes.
me for Monty Williams not knowing that they had NBA players on the roster. This is my thing. That I didn't realize they had a coach that didn't want to be there, and that is absolutely
while being paid the most money.
Yes, that is a huge thing that a hurdle that they've cleared for this year's team. I think Bernie Bickerstaff is an upgraded coach. If for no other reason than vibes.
You mean his son, but yes.
JB, not Bernie, sorry.
Now that's conceivable.
I'm super old today. But JB is an upgrade on Monty Williams. The issues I've got are, it's like, is Cade Cunningham going to do some stuff? I just don't know. I do think they'll win more than 25 games. They have literally someone has to win some of these games, and I think the Pistons are likely to win 29-30. Tobias Harris is an actual NBA player. He's worth 10 wins alone on this team.
10? Larry Bird is worth 10 wins.
For them? He's literally like he's their
Dave,
best player.
I hear what you're saying.
Red Auerbach's worth about 7 wins.
Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey are both better than Tobias Harris.
That's insane.
Like
that's insane.
Yes.
Disagree.
No, come on.
Disagree.
What?
I disagree.
Noob Saibot is bad.
Disagree.
This is stunning.
This is a vault.
This is a stunning statement.
I know. I listen. The Tobias Harris stuff has gone too far.
It's gone too far, but he's not better than Cade Cunningham or Jaden Ivey.
I'm not saying you prioritize him like he's better, but he's a better NBA basketball player today than those two guys.
This is wild.
I'm just telling you. I can't do Cade. I'll be honest with you. Don't know who Jaden Ivey is necessarily.
Right.
I know him by name only. I'm not familiar with
neither
his
did
game.
Monty Williams.
That's it.
I've seen I dabbled with him in fantasy.
I also like that Isaiah Stewart is now just backup center. He's no longer starting power forward, plays 29 minutes a game.
Taking threes.
Why? Just be a backup center. I do think, like, you speak to the competence of the roster. And again, this burned me last season, but it's like just having your 10th man be Tim Hardaway Jr. or Malik Beasley or Simone Fontecchio. Those guys all can hit standstill shots. I think this team is like 25 wins to hit the under seems so low to me. Surely Wingstop has said, we don't want to sponsor your post-game tweets anymore with this 30-game losing streak. Win some basketball games. I think it's an over. Sorry. So wait, did y'all pick, Dave, did you pick an over or under?
I went over.
They have Tobias Harris, so they're easy over.
Right.
All right.
Easy over.
Dave.
Fool me once. Shame
John.
on me.
All right.
Fool me twice. Shame on Coach DuFour. I'll go under.
All right. You're sticking with it. All right. The Indiana Pacers are the next team up alphabetically. They had a great season last year. My prediction for the Pacers, I believe in this regular season basketball team, but they won 47 last year. I think they beat that. I think they won 48 this year. I think Tyrese Halliburton's going to be a little bit healthier. I think they have a full offseason with Pascal Siakam. And I just think they're going to be a regular season rip you apart juggernaut. They're going to score a lot of points. They're going to bank so many wins on the bottom half of this conference. I trust them more than some of the teams that even have older players that are going to be good, I think. So I have them at, with that buildup, you'd think I went massive. Just 48 wins, but that's an over, it turns out. Vegas has them at 46.5.
You hear that, Dave? They're going to rip through the regular season with 48 wins.
48 wins.
They are my 5 seed. I have them ahead of the Milwaukee Bucks. They're my 5 seed.
Regular season juggernaut 5 seed.
People last year in the regular season, no one won games in the Eastern Conference. I think the Pacers are going to have a bad record against the West, but they only have to play. They don't have to play them that many times.
You got there. It took some scrambling, but you made the throw.
I'm taking the over on 46.5 wins. Dave, what's your thought on the Pacers?
I think I've got them right about 47 wins this year, so I'll take the over on that one.
That's an under, Dave.
No. You said 46
and 46 and a half. So Dave's an over.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a super easy over. They're going to win at least 50 games.
There we go. There is.
Yeah. I think now, I think Nembhard is pretty good.
Good player.
And they can win games even if Tyrese is hurt now. They're good enough to win non-playoff games without Tyrese. They really just only fell apart when they were playing the best team.
I'm confused by the line. Because they won 47 last year and Halliburton was hurt.
This was going to be way higher. This is like one of the easiest ones.
This is about the reshuffling. I think that this actually kind of makes some sense.
Jalen Smith is the only one gone.
Well, no. It's more like
they didn't lose that to anybody.
So the 76ers only won 47 last year. The Heat only won 46 last year. Milwaukee only won 49. The Heat don't
exist until like March.
Well, right. And so I think that when you're looking, I'm assuming that when they're looking at these over-unders, they're looking at just there's not a lot of extra wins.
No, this is the argument for docking the Hawks victories. Yeah.
Right.
You're doing it now.
Yeah, so I think 48 wins for them. And again, this could be a 50-win team.
Not that many teams, repeating myself, not 4 or 5 teams won that many games in the East last year. So it's not like easy, but I do feel more comfortable taking that than thinking they're going to have a worse record than they did last year. Let's do the Miami Heat, who no one thinks about. I am a little confused by this team. I I think they should be pretty good. I think they're maybe 7th, 8th best team in the East. I put them at 45 wins. Also, I feel like I get their over-under wrong every single season. Their over-under turns out it's 44.5. So I'm riding the line. I'm not happy about it, but I guess I'll stick with the process. I mean, I think this is one team. We haven't hit many of these teams yet. This is one team that theoretically could do a soft blow up, or they could actually trade Jimmy Butler if they find the right option that they think extends their competitive window with Bam Adebayo. But I don't know. Their first round pick, it's lottery protected. Otherwise, the Thunder get it. So I think this is a team. Could you finally see the Heat? They don't believe in tanking, but could they do a mid-year pivot into, all right, let's just get a draft pick? That's my biggest concern. Otherwise, 44.5, I guess that's cool. So I'll take the slightest of overs. John, what are your sources in South Beach telling you?
Pat Riley won't tank.
Yep.
Ever. I feel like they won this many games last year.
Yeah, they won 46, I think.
46.
Yeah.
I feel like Bam Adebayo is maybe the best defensive player now.
Yep.
I guess I'm going to use the tanking argument to say that they will get some free wins based off the new feeder system of tanking, and I'll take a slight over as well. But I agree. The Heat, I do not like taking overs on Heat because of their dismissal, and it's correct, of the regular season.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'll go over. It doesn't feel great.
I feel the same way. I don't like to take the over with the Heat, but once you sit and do the math, I just don't see a world in which they don't win at least 45 games.
So right now,
so many awesome players.
Right now, we are unanimous overs on Cavs, Pacers, and
this is basic bitch Karen betting.
Yeah.
These are going to be all the big bets. I guarantee it.
Our next team, the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll do one more, then take a break. The Milwaukee Bucks, I think they're going to have a worse record than the Pacers. I don't trust this team. I picked them for 47 wins, which turns out is a massive under. And their over-under number is 50.5. I love this under. I think this under is a slam bang. Absolutely. Take that mortgage check. No, I love this under. So not to hard sell it. Anyone want to push back? Dave, What do you think about 50.5 wins for the Milwaukee Bucks?
Yeah, I think that's high.
That's so high.
That's pretty high. They're old. They are old. And they're going to have to figure out how to be healthy for the playoffs. I just think you just can't run them out there every night.
Yeah.
It is high enough that it gives me pause.
It's so high it gives me pause. Their over-under last year was like 54. It was so high last year because everyone was so excited about Damian Lillard. We saw a season of Damian Lillard. Maybe you could say another year in the lab together, kind of like Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns had that extra year to grow together.
The number of excuses I've heard for Damian Lillard that involve like not working out and divorces, etc. To me, the Milwaukee Bucks are a completely unserious NBA team. They are a pretender at this point. Like, will they make the playoffs? Sure. But I don't even really think about them when I think about like top tier teams anymore. And it's mostly just the way they've built it and the way that every season seems to play out with Giannis. No thanks. This is like probably the easiest pick we've made so far to me.
So
the Milwaukee
Chris Middleton's double ankle surgery.
Come on.
He's coming back any month now.
Doc Rivers with a training camp though.
I don't know. This
team is undefeated when Kendrick Perkins is healthy.
We were all over the place for the first like 6 teams. The last 4 we've been in lockstep, complete unison. Let's take a break and then we'll come back to the final 5 teams and also answer a listener question.
It better be about Gary Trent Jr. and DeLon Wright.
All right, let's actually, before we get to the Knicks, Magic, 76ers, Raptors, and Wizards, let's answer one listener-submitted question. This is the croissant questioner.
Knock yourself out.
All right, Janky Jeff asks, actually, two-time International Stackhouse of Pancakes negative fantasy champion. Janky Jeff asks.
His laurels.
He says, I don't know how to use Basketball Reference correctly, but has anyone that played 1,000 games had a lower total VORP than Taj Gibson? Who doesn't want to talk about Taj Gibson? He goes on to say, never mind. The answer is Kevin Willis. Also, Juwan Howard and Jeff Green.
That's short arms Kevin.
I rescind my question. So thank you, Jakey Jeff. Very good contribution to the croissant query by identifying the players with the most games played and the lowest value over replacement. If you want your question read on air, like we just read two-time iShop champion Janky Jeff's question, patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Sign up over there. All right, the New York Knicks, guys, they did some things. They just traded for Karl Anthony Towns, which we appreciate them doing. Last year, we had to do the Clippers over under before the James Harden trade went down, even though we thought it was going down. But the Knicks, I think they're going to be the second best team in the Eastern Conference, but it turns out I'm a heavy under. I gave them 52.
Wow,
I gave them 52 wins. They don't have any depth.
Right.
And I give them 52 wins, a comfortable 2 seed, but their over-under is 54.5. I don't think this team is winning 55 games, so that gives me an under. John, what are your thoughts on the new look, possibly dominant New York Knicks?
That's a large number. However, I do agree with you that they could be one of the best teams in the East, but I also agree with you that they are pretty thin, especially with Vincenzo gone. Cat sure should be a good regular season basketball player. 54.5?
Yes, you got to win. You got to win 55 for a winner. I can't do that. Also, like, Cat misses time.
Yeah,
I mean,
and who plays? Who plays when because Hartenstein's gone, right?
Precious Ashua. I mean, Mitchell Robinson is supposed to come back around in January, but they want to trade him. Josh Hart misses time. Yeah. I mean, he like plays 48 minutes when he's healthy, but
you know what? Everything you're saying is true. But Ice Tibbs needs none of these guys to win regular season games.
All right,
I'll take the over.
You're a wild man.
Wow.
You're a wild man.
They just added a regular season stud. A 3-point champion, a 3-point contest champion.
Yeah.
I mean, they are going to be a totally different team, I think, from an offensive standpoint with Cat as opposed to the logjam of dudes standing under the basket.
Yeah.
I think what was already, a 50-win team could be a really, like, when I say juggernaut, Dave, I mean winning lots of games.
Yeah.
When Keith says juggernaut, he means winning 44 games. So I'm going to stick to my guns here and say
the Knicks are winning 55 games.
Yeah,
is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what he says. I mean, of course they could. Right. It seems less probable. All right, so Dave, what are you going to do?
I think it's an under, but I have them winning more games than last year.
Yeah.
Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns pick and roll is actually pretty nice. So
disgusting. And it's like a totally different pick and roll than the one with Anthony Edwards, which was kind of a excuse me, this will be more like a herky-jerky, what are our options here, totally pick them apart pick and roll, as opposed to this explosive guy and then this kind of herky-jerky guy. So it's like, to me, with no actual knowledge, this seems like a better fit.
Let me give you, I'll translate that. So Jalen Brunson can operate in small space, and you notice, like, he'll try to get the big on his shoulder, and he creates all this space that way. So he works in these really tight windows that gives Cat all these angles to attack from. Cat can move around the pick and roll, whereas with Anthony Edwards, Cat's job was kind of get out of the way and let him go fly. He wanted to get down.
Test, because I think if you've watched the Knicks are one of my favorite teams to watch, mostly because of Jalen Brunson. He always keeps it. Maybe he won't always keep it.
Well, now he's got somebody he can get. He's got a partner in the pick and roll, not a guy he's got to lead to the water.
And we haven't even.
I think it could be a big change.
Oh yeah,
and we haven't even talked about the fact. I mean, on this episode, just that like Mikal Bridges making his debut as well for the Knicks. It's going to be special.
Oh, the wing defense for them is going to be absurd.
Oh, also OG Anunoby misses games.
Right.
I mean, he's awesome. Misses so many games. So I think that the second best team easily in the East, maybe not easily, but I think that the second best team, it wouldn't surprise me if they win 60 games, but it feels safer to be on the, let's just take it easy. How that goes wrong as far as like regular season wins, how that goes wrong is they end up being like 40-10 against the East. And then they just have to, barely play 500 against the Western Conference and they're fine. The Orlando Magic had a great regular season last year, powered by a really strong defense. They were the only team to make the playoffs to be bottom 10 in 3-point percentage. That's something the Grizzlies are going to try to accomplish this season. Good luck, Grizzlies.
I hate your guts.
I have the Magic as the 7 seed, though. I think the Bucks, Pacers, Cavaliers, 76ers, Knicks, and Celtics are better. And I gave them 46 wins, which turns out to be an under. They are set at 47.5 wins based on the Vegas casinos, meaning they have to match last year's regular season win total. To do it, I'm going to say they do not do it. Dave, how do you feel about the Magic and that win total?
Yeah, I have them under. I think they're probably going to have a worse year. Their offense is a huge problem, and KCP doesn't really solve that for them. They need some guards. The Paolo Banchero is your primary initiator. That's not working offensively. Their defense is excellent, but you need offense to win. Like I just in a regular season, I buy what the Pacers do way more than what Orlando did last year as far as being able to repeat it for a second season. Offense is just, to me, if you can score, you can win games. If you're only winning because of defense and the occasional scoring outburst here and there, like what they had like the first round of the playoffs where they shot way better than they normally do, I actually think it's harder to sustain. So I have them under that number. I think they're a play-in team this year.
What about you, John?
This is a philosophical pick for me. I was a supporter of the grit and grind Grizzlies for many years. I was released from that obligation, and I will never go back. The Orlando Magic is terrifying to watch, the most putrid, disgusting brand of basketball we have in the league. I'm hoping for, manifesting an under.
Oh, it's more great and grind, right? Like GRATE, because it's hard to watch.
I can't stand watching anyone who plays for the Magic. Wendell Carter sickens me. Jalen Suggs, who I think will be better and honestly has to be better as a point guard.
Well, he
sickens me.
Jalen Suggs, I think one big question for the Magic, and I think I mentioned it before on the show, is just what if the shooting regresses? Because he actually shot the ball pretty well last year, and that was maybe surprising. We're a unanimous under on the Magic. They made us look like fools last season.
Probably happening again.
The Philadelphia 76ers made the biggest splash this offseason. Maybe you say Knicks if you get Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns trades.
I would say Knicks.
Let's say Knicks.
But still, people know these players better.
Free agency, at least. They got the best player who changed teams in Paul George. I still have some concerns about the regular season. Here's what I'm thinking, and I assume most people are also thinking this. Joel Embiid has already acknowledged he needs to play fewer regular season games. Oh, by the way, the team just announced they're not sure he's going to be ready for opening night. So that's regular season win total red flags going up right there. I still picked the Sixers to finish third in the East in the regular season, but I only gave them 50 victories. So that makes it a large under based on their win total, which is 52.5. Dave, what do you think about a 52.5 over under projection for the 76ers?
I have them under for that reason. I do like this team. I think once they get to the playoffs, they're going to be really in a great spot. But regular season wise, without Embiid, if he plays 60 games, is Paul George going to get him 13 wins in the ones that he missed? I don't know.
Maxey.
Yeah. So we'll see.
I mean, I think they have the best big three in the league in Maxey, Paul George, and Embiid. and I think they're going to be awesome. But
it's hard to do without.
I think they're going to take it easy in the regular season. And again, if the number, I would like really fret over the number if it were closer, if it was like 51.5. But we're talking about having to win 53 games, a thing that only one team did in the East last year. Like, I don't know.
You guys,
John, what's your thought?
Step under the learning tree for a second here.
Yes, please.
So you guys took the unders on all three of the top three teams. I'm going to take the overs on all top three of the top three teams. Yep. Who do you think is going to end up getting 2 out of 3 of these right?
Us. I like it.
Oh, all right.
No,
it's the injuries. It's the injuries, man.
This could be the most. This could be the most reflective of the American caste system we have. This will be the most. The East standings might be the most reflective of the income wealth disparity of our country. There could be 3 teams easily, like the Celtics have 69 wins, the Knicks have 65 wins, the Sixers have 60, the Cavaliers won 55. Oh, by the way, the Nets won 8. The Wizards won 8.
Yeah.
The Pistons won 18.
I do think it'll be nice to see the Sixers put less stock in the regular season. So I understand what you guys are thinking. I think they do understand that you can't add a guy like Paul George and not join the load management mantra. And honestly, they shouldn't have played Joel Embiid as much as they have in seasons past. So I think this new acquisition, this new philosophy, also like all the guys they picked up. And maybe I watched too much of the international stuff because I'm all excited about Yabusele and stuff like that. And you know, I just can't stop myself at this point. So, and I know the Melton loss is huge, but Keith,
thank you.
They also excised the cancerous syphilitic sarcocell that is Buddy Hield. So, voila.
You're also lucky you didn't watch the preseason game. They lost by 50 two days ago. They don't have any dribblers besides Maxey. They're like campaign.
Is that the Paul Reed? The Paul Reed?
It's like
Paul Reed leaves. Lost.
Oh, all right. So we are 2/3 under. We got 2 teams left. The Toronto Raptors.
Keith, if I start worrying about preseason, I'm going to walk away not realizing that Zach Edey is a slam dunk rookie of the year pick and picking that guy that Dave brought up. What was his name again? Yabusele?
Oh, no. Risache,
man. The Raptors might accidentally make the play-in. The Raptors, some team in the East might tank and end up in the play-in.
The Raptors definitely tank, right?
One of the funniest storylines potentially in the East, when I look at all these teams who have like top 10 protected picks, like Wizards, Bulls, what is it? The Raptors, all stuff, like one of those teams might mess up because of the lottery. Like you're going to have to finish with one of the 6 worst records. That might be a very competitive thing. But anyways, the Raptors, I have bad news for myself. I feel like I picked them to go 30-52 based on the fact that I think the Hornets, Nets, Wizards, and Bulls are going to be bad. 30 wins would be an over right now. Their line is 29.5 wins. John, they're one of those 5 teams that actually own their own pick unencumbered. So they'll just tank it out.
They'll be like spectacular tanking, and then also
capture the flag.
Also suck. It's a double whammy. That's a beautiful thing.
They were pretty good net rating wise last season when Jakob Poeltl, Emmanuel Quickley, and RJ Barrett played together. It just didn't happen that often. So there you go.
Listen to yourself, man.
I'm just giving people the information. Do with it what you want. Dave, what do you think? This is one where I want to cheat and jump on John's side and be like, yeah, they're just going to tank. This is dumb.
Yeah, they're tanking. I'm going under with them. They're just not very good, and they're just going to tank, and I don't know.
I love it.
There's not a lot.
They're going to tank, and they also suck.
Yeah, they're not good, and they're going to tank.
Yeah. I guess I'll hold the line. I'll stick with my over. My only problem is on paper, are they not better than the Pistons and the Bulls? I mean, it's not I think they might be.
I thought you liked the Pistons. What's going on here?
Well, so I think the Pistons are going to be my play-in team. I think I'm going to pick them to like my win total. I picked them to be 10th with 32 wins.
How many players is Tobias Harris better than on the Pistons? Dave, this will shut this down.
You mean on the Raptors?
Oh
yeah, on the Raptors. Sorry,
he'd be the best player.
Man,
I meant to say Scotty Barnes too. Player. Yeah, he's like twice as good as Scotty Barnes. No. I'm going over. I believe in Scotty Barnes. No, I don't feel good about it, but I guess I'll take the over. And our final team, we saved the worst for last. John, you missed this. I'm sure you didn't see this quote. Their GM said they haven't even finished the deconstruction phase of their rebuild.
I did see this.
Okay, good.
This is such a preposterous, insane thing to say that it hit the outer rings of sports fandom where I know well. The asteroid belt that I'm hiding out in.
All right. So
there's tweeting through it, and then there's that.
It's genius.
I put him for 19 wins. I was a little disturbed that Alexander Sarr looks kind of good in preseason. I was like, oh no. Maybe they'll win some games. But no, I have 19 wins. Their over-under is actually higher than the Nets. They're a 20.5 over-under. So yeah,
Can I get an update on where this pick is for them? Do they own it?
Their pick is, let me find the exact information.
That means everything for me.
It is. I mean, they're tanking. We know they're tanking, but it's top 10 protected. So they're not going to mess around and accidentally win 25 games.
I'll go under.
I got them under.
Yeah.
I'm looking at 15. I'm looking at the 15 wins they got last year, and I'm wondering how the hell they won 15 games.
They added classic innings eater regular season game winner Jonas Valanciunas, so this causes me pain. But they're gonna have to sit Big Tuna.
Yeah, they started him the first game. They already brought him off the bench in like the following.
They're not gonna be able to start Jonas.
They're trying to flip him.
Right, that's perfect to get 2 seconds or whatever for that 10 million. It's such a perfect contract.
I mean, they traded Denny Avdia, who was on a very good contract and who was very young, because they were like, we don't need a good contract for the next 3 seasons.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just like, who cares? We're going to have to pay him by the time we start beginning the cycle. That's the actual rebuild. So, all right, we're a unanimous under the Washington Wizards on 20.5 wins. To recap, we were 2/3 under on the Hawks, 2/3 under on the Celtics, 2/3 under on the Nets. We were 2/3 over on the Hornets. We were a unanimous under on the Bulls, a unanimous over on the Cavaliers, a 2/3 over on the Pistons, a unanimous over on the Pacers, a unanimous over on the Heat, a unanimous under on the Bucks. We were tickled pink that they set that line at 50.5. We were 2/3 under on the Knicks. We were unanimous under on the Magic, 2/3 under on the 76ers, 2/3 under on the Raptors, unanimous under on
I felt
the Washington
maybe this is persecution
Wizards.
complex. I felt very ganged up on. Is there a quick way to find out if all the 2/3 were you guys ganging up on me or not?
You and I agreed on a bunch.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we agreed on a bunch.
We were ganging up on Keith? Oh, that feels good.
I also had 8 unders and 7 overs somehow.
That's pretty good.
I want to know what would happen if I just go 15 unders. I think I would definitely do better than I do regularly. I assume unders hit close to 60% of the time. So that would definitely be a huge improvement for my Eastern Conference predictions in previous seasons. And with that, gentlemen, we did it. Good job to us predicting the Eastern Conference. Again, caveat, I'm about 50% accurate on these, which is terrible. So if I picked your team to go under, be assuaged that the odds are good. They're going to go over. Final par fadeaway, things we're looking forward to. I got to say, we should mention it probably. There was like a big to-do with the Knicks and Timberwolves playing on Sunday night. I mean, first of all, what a great preseason game. Yeah. Second of all, I feel like it's sad that those teams aren't in the same conference and can't be like a rivalry. I feel like legit rivalry. However, it pains me to report that all of the lip reading that was posted on social media was just false. All of it was false about Dante DiVincenzo trash talking Tibbs for trading him. None of that happened. DiVincenzo was trash talking, but he's talking to like basically his like godfather, Rick Brunson. Yeah. None of it was anything. It was just a good old fashioned trash talking. Those teams super fun. And also good job by those teams actually playing their players. We keep getting preseason games where it's like the Denver Nuggets are doing a dress rehearsal and the Phoenix Suns are starting Bol and Monty Morris and Ryan Dunn. So
every player in the league is a game time decision.
That
on the injury report.
True as well. Cool. John, what are you looking forward to just even this season? What's a big picture thing that you're like the most excited about for this upcoming season?
Zach Edey. This is a silly question.
Oh, okay. You're
complete edification. Come join the Mongolian horde. Get on this Manchurian candidacy. This is the year, Keith.
I hope you are right. He doesn't.
Your hatred.
I don't have hatred.
Galvanizes the movement. The horde is coming.
Yeah, I don't have hatred. I just wish he got more rebounds where his hands were over his head. That's all. I haven't seen it yet.
When his hands are at his hips, they're still over.
They're still very high. I listen. I'm not hating. I'm just asking for more rebounds where he grabs it over his head and over everybody else.
He's been playing for not that long.
That's what people are saying. He's only been playing for 6 years.
There's still room to grow. Maybe Dave, even physically. He might be 7'7" by year's end.
Dave, what are you looking forward to either this week or just for the coming season, a big picture?
I want to see who's going to be the champ this year. You know, we've got six straight.
That is right? Big picture.
Big picture. I mean, 6 straight different winners.
Yeah.
So who's it going to be? I mean, right now I'm super on board the Oklahoma City Thunder train. I mean, I just think they're so deep, but they're young. No team has done it this young, right? Yeah. So who's it going to be? Is Dallas going to be as good with Clay? I'm not sure. I actually have really enjoyed as I've gone along in this and done this more and more. It's getting less and less predictable to start the season.
Yeah.
The parity has been great. So I don't know, man. This is like, again, I keep telling people this is the time of year where I'm selling hope. So later on, I can snatch your soul when I'm hating on your team.
Yeah. Did you forget for a second and think you were doing The Athletic when you were like, what are you looking forward to? And you're like, who's going to win the title?
No, I wasn't actually. This is like for real.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's one of those things that sounds boring, but then when you dig into it, it's actually an interesting point.
We're still in the preseason.
Could win the title.
Yeah.
I want to see if the Warriors are as good as I keep thinking they are. They look awesome in the preseason. This is all confirmation bias.
He's taking the over.
How is Steve Kerr going to screw this up? I can't wait to see. Anyways, if you want to,
that's going to be the theme for my system. How will Steve Kerr and Taylor Jenkins ruin everything?
If you want to support this program and get bonus content, to join the Slack channel and to play fantasy basketball, signups are this week. Remember, the draft is Tuesday. The draft is Wednesday for regular leagues. The negative league, the draft is on Sunday. Do all of that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. All right. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.
Yeah, never apologize for being G&G. Fast break, man. You understand? I will remember.